I'm inviting you to consider the idea that there may be some ancient wisdom that offers us a key to unlock the door that leads to true happiness. Deep thinkers throughout history, starting with Plato and Aristotle, have identified 4 levels of happiness. Level 1, pleasure. Level 2, achievement. Level 3, altruism. And level 4, transcendence. Let's take a look at each. Level 1, pleasure. So our default settings are set to pursue this level. We will do what we can to experience pleasure and comfort, and we do not have to make ourselves do these things. It comes naturally. And this level of happiness lasts as long as the pleasurable activity lasts. It's temporary. And here is where Montaigne has happily stopped. Stuck here, we're left to explore more and more extreme avenues of diversion, and we can end up deeply entrenched in substance abuse and addictions. Level 2 is the level of achievement, and we move to this level when we start to compare ourselves with others. We notice who is more beautiful, intelligent, thin, wealthy, popular, powerful, and we feel happy when we're on top. But when others are ahead of us, we become dissatisfied. And this can motivate us to change our behavior so that we start achieving more. We compare, we compete, we achieve. And when we move forward, we feel happier, at least for a time, until the bar is raised. Then we have level 3, altruism. When we move to the 3rd level of happiness, our focus turns outward. We see the benefit of contributing to the world. We want our lives to count, to have meaning. We want to do something that brings positive change. As a result, we step out and we sacrifice for the sake of others. We give back. And the happiness that is found in this level is much more satisfying because it is longer lasting and it has farther reach. Most of the books, courses, counseling sessions, and seminars that focus on happiness, they stop right here. And the claim is that this is satisfying enough. But I disagree, because just like pleasure and achievement, we cannot hold on to this high. We get tired. It all gets heavy, but to take a break seems selfish. Altruism, as the highest level of happiness, tends to lead to a cycle of burnout, then a return to self-centered pleasure seeking for the sake of self-care and survival. Altruism is good, and I'm not suggesting that we abandon it, but I am suggesting that as a number 1 priority, altruism can be heavy and lonely. There is a higher level, transcendence. If we don't reach for it, we're going to be left with a gnawing sense that something is missing. But many of us hesitate at this point, and we wonder if we're crazy to believe in the possibility of there being something transcendent or spiritual. Believing this requires a leap into the unknown. And what if we're wrong? How gullible will we look? Even if we find the internal courage to move forward towards belief, there's usually someone around ready to mock our naivete. But perhaps our discontentment with where our searching has led us can create enough space for us to be curious about whether or not there is something more. James K.A. Smith claims that we foist infinite expectations upon the finite. And if he's right, then isn't it at least worth considering the level of transcendence, something beyond the material world? Let's look at this final 4th level of happiness. So with transcendence, we're turning our focus to something outside of this world. We recognize that we have deep desires for perfect truth, perfect beauty, perfect goodness, perfect love, for a perfect home. And we acknowledge that within us there is a longing for something more, something that this world is not providing. The human experience has offered many ways to begin to access this level of happiness. Throughout all of human history, religion has promised transcendence. Today, many look for experiences of transcendence through meditation, hypnotherapy, yoga, mind-altering substances, festivals and gatherings like Burning Man. But do these experiences truly help us find a way outside of ourselves? Or are we still at the center? Have we actually transcended anything? We have our mountaintop moment, but then what? We hold crow pose for 5 minutes, but then what? It's still just me trying harder and harder. This is David Foster Wallace's This Is Water all over again. I'm still stuck in my default mode with me at the center. We need to figure out how to access this 4th level Because so far, what has been offered to us is actually a lot of mental gymnastics and catharsis and treatment of symptoms instead of finding a lasting cure. We don't want to manage our discontent and unhappiness. We want to heal it. We want it gone. And I haven't found in the world's offerings of transcendence a way to do this. Each of these 4 levels of happiness has their place and offers something of value. But settling down in any of the first 3, deciding that pleasure or achievement or altruism will be enough, it's been proven time and time again to disappoint. Father Robert Spitzer writes something really interesting about all of this in his book, Finding True Happiness. And he explains that your desire for all 4 levels of happiness is operating all the time. So even if you are dominated by levels 1 and 2, there's going to be something within you calling you to aim higher, to turn your focus outward and upward. If you are ignoring the fact that there is anything outside of the material world, if you ignore the transcendent, you will still have a gnawing sense that something is just out of reach. And he writes this. He says, these unfulfilled desires have a curious consequence. They make us feel empty. We don't simply think that something is missing. We feel a void within us. In all cases, we do not feel at home in ourselves and in the world. Something we desperately yearn for is missing. So if you find yourself dominated by the lower levels of happiness, if your sense of well-being is intricately tied to how much pleasure and comfort you are feeling, to how well-liked you feel you are, or to how well you are achieving your goals, then these are your 3 options. 1, you can avoid thinking about the whole thing. You can numb out. What does this look like? Well, you're going to want to sleep more, watch more YouTube, drink more, spend more time on dating apps, escape into whatever doesn't demand much and will distract you. 2, you can fight against the truth of our human nature, deny the need for transcendence, and try to live in such a way that constantly denies the little voice inside that says it's not working. We aren't actually that happy. And this is a lot of work. It certainly is exhausting, spending every moment gaslighting yourself, manipulating and doubting yourself into questioning your own real and instinctual experience of the world. Because there's going to be something in you that feels deeply that there is an answer, that there is a fullness out there where the world is going to only be offering you coping mechanisms. Or 3, you can trust yourself when you get the sense that there is something more out there, that little voice inside that says, this is not for me. And then you believe her. You enter into the discomfort and the heartbreak of looking around and knowing deep down, I am lost. We can drop the heaviness of keeping up, of faking it, of keeping it all a secret, and we can take the first step on the road to the adventure that our life was always meant to be. We have to uproot the weeds, and it's going to hurt. And what once looked like a pleasant enough garden might need to go through a period where it's just bare and raw dirt. Your hands might feel bloody from the effort of ripping it all out, and some of those weeds are going to be your very favorite flowers: perfectionism, indulgence, success. These are flowers that have brought you some short-term comfort. But I think it's time to stop asking those weeds to be what they can never be. They can never bear the weight of your happiness. It's time to set out on an adventure, on a journey to find transcendent happiness. If it's out there, and I don't want us to leave any stone unturned. I don't want you to quit before we've looked everywhere. You are being called into the deep.